Welcome back to The Beat. I'm your host, Olivia Garman. We're here today interviewing the three winners of Catwalk, Molly Huth, Lily Manning, and Katie Bailey. We first wanted to say congratulations to the three of you.
Thank
Thank
you.
you.
You're welcome. So first, could you all give us a brief summary of your design and your inspiration and how the theme really applied to your designs? We'll start with Molly.
So mine was inspired by the Scream painting by Edvard Munch. And it was basically just like a big skirt, and I put boning so that it would move around a lot. And then a tulle top to like show like the colors and the figures from the Scream.
So since the theme was camp, which is like extravagant, like very loud and outside of the box, I drew my inspiration from somebody who I thought like embodied that, who's Cruella de Vil. So I modeled the dress after the dress she wears, and then the big furry Dalmatian coat that she has with the red lining. So that's where I drew my inspiration from.
Oh.
I drew my inspiration from the Greek myth King Midas and the Golden Touch. I made a gold empire prom dress with a sequin gold sash that looks kind of like toga-esque, and then like a gold headband to really like sell it, I guess.
Oh. Okay, so Molly, you said that your design was heavily inspired by the Scream.
Yes.
What about this painting inspired you the most?
I don't know if there's like one specific thing, but I've always just really liked it. Probably just like the colors and stuff. And I just kind of thought, it's kind of like creepy with the face, so I figured killer camp, it would work. But.
Yeah. And Lily, your design featured a lot of unique accessories. So how did you manage to create that perfect look for the final performance?
So I really wanted the outfit to come to life on the runway, because that's a big part of the theatrical aspect of camp. So in doing that, I used some props like the cigarette holder, which was inspired by, like, she's from the 50s, so that's what it comes from. And then she has a Dalmatian puppy, which goes without saying. And we actually had a fake puff cigarette, which I had to get cleared before I used to make sure it was appropriate, but it just had like chalk in it, so that was really awesome. I feel like there was an audible gasp when that happened, but I feel like it really added to the whole look.
Yeah, it definitely made it look great when it was on the runway.
Thanks.
And Katie, your design was inspired by ancient Greek garments. So can you tell us a little bit about your research process for that?
So I'm very interested in Greek and Roman textiles. They were made on a hand loom, and that took, the process of making fabric took a very lengthy amount of time, and it was expensive. So basically, once it came off the loom, they didn't want to do much with it. So if you look at togas from the period, it's just squares, like with accoutrements onto it to give it shape and body. So I thought that was so interesting, and I really wanted to let that play into like the draping toga section of my dress.
Wow. Okay, so a big part of Catwalk is the combination of the designer's ideas with the model. So it's important to work with the models. Lily, what was it like working with your model, Katie?
Katie was great. She was so nice, always willing to come in, really supportive even when my dress looked like a literal bag. And she was actually the perfect choice, even though like it was just a happy coincidence that I got her, because in all the best ways she looks just like Cruella de Vil. She plays the part really well, and all of her friends actually wanted her to be Cruella de Vil for Halloween, so they were really happy to see that, is what she told me. And when I was talking with her, I realized towards the end of the process, when it really came together, that if it was anybody other than Katie, like somebody that was blonde, it just wouldn't have looked right. So I'm really happy that Katie was my model. She played the part perfectly.
Wow, that's awesome. So Molly, we know that it looks absolutely effortless on stage, but there's a lot of work that goes into the process. What was one of the most challenging parts of the process for you?
There was a lot of challenges on this one. It was just, I didn't get a pattern, so it was a lot of like trial and error. The whole skirt was kind of a mess for most of the time. But eventually, I got the bony in, and that was kind of just a lot of like sculpting and stuff, and I had never done that, so it was just a lot of like random stitches anywhere, no really rhyme or reason. But and then a lot of it was hand stitching, so that was just time consuming.
Okay, yeah. So Katie, how did the program improve your sewing skills and your knowledge?
Catwalk really just expands your horizons for what you think sewing could be. I took Mrs. McHugh's textiles class, and it was a lot of fun, but you just sew like pillows and capes and stuff, so you don't really get into like sewing like garments. My first time sewing a pattern was last year when I did Catwalk, and this year being able to make like the pretty prom dresses and stuff was like really fun.
Yeah, that sounds fun. So finally, we just wanted to ask you all what the most rewarding part of the process was for you. We can start on this side this time.
Okay. The most rewarding part for me definitely is watching the design go from what I think it's going to be in the beginning and sort of shifting and evolving into the final design. And then you sort of look back at like your original concept and you're like, man, like I kind of like the final design a lot better now, so it's just interesting.
Huh.
I feel like the most rewarding part of the process for me was probably seeing what I was capable of because, like Katie said, like the last time I sewed was in 8th grade, so I really had little to no experience with actually making clothes. So to see it all come together on stage exactly how I wanted it, and then to be like recognized as the winner is something really special and just really rewarding to see what you can actually create.
Yeah, that's incredible.
I just think like when you see it walk down the runway in front of all the people, it's just like a surreal experience just to see your final work. And then also I feel like the whole experience, how stressful it is, you make a lot of friends that you wouldn't have known before, which was really cool because we all became pretty close. So.
Yeah, that sounds super rewarding. So we wanted to say congratulations again to the three of you. Thank you for coming on our show. And we wish you the best experience touring Ramey Brooks Studio in New York. It's owned by a Chatham alum, so that should be a really amazing experience for all of you. Thank you, and we'll see you next time on The Beat.